Thanks for having me back. Obviously, happy birthday to you guys. Congratulations for making it 1 year. That's really awesome. And thanks for thinking of me to bring me back. I guess tonight, the first time I was with you guys, I really just shared my story and how I got to where I am now. And obviously, since the first time that I was with you guys, I received a promotion. I was an intern when I spoke to you guys the first time, and now I'm assistant running backs coach with the team. That's a little good news on my side. But I touched on a few points throughout my journey that I'm just going to kind of revisit tonight to talk about and kind of go a little more in depth on some things. Obviously, if you have any questions for me, you can put them in the chat. And we'll see if we can get to them at the end. And I won't take too much of your time, but just wanted to speak to you guys about a few things. And obviously, to become an NFL coach, it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication to get here. And it was many years in the making for me to make it into the NFL and to be able to work at the NFL level. As far as your dream chasing goes, you're never too old or anything to chase what you want to do and chase your passions and chase your dreams. And that's a message I think is very important, that no matter your age, if there's something that you want to do that you have a passion for, there's an opportunity for you to do it, and you have to go after it. And I definitely believe that success leaves clues. Whatever you want to do, look at people who are doing it and try to see what they did in order to get to the level of success that they've made. And that's something that I've did. And there weren't any women coaching in the NFL at the time, but there were a lot of guys. And to start building those connections and see how they made it to that level was big. Success definitely leaves clues, and that's something that I think is important for people to realize, as they're moving through their lives and moving to their chasing their dreams and any other goals that they may have. So just as in case if you're in a job that you may not like, you're in a situation that you may not like, there's always room for change. And I think that the most important thing is when you start making that change is create that personal mantra of greatness and how you're going to get there. Because obviously it's going to take a lot of work. Just because you want to do something doesn't mean it's going to happen. You have to put that work in. And, what's your personal mantra? My personal ones was be so good that I couldn't be denied. That's something that I developed over that time when I decided I wanted to be in the NFL, because I knew it was going to take a lot of work, a lot of things going right, a lot of people saying yes for me to make it to that level. And quick background, I was a successful college basketball coach for 10 years before I got into the NFL. So life was good for me, but I made that decision to change professions and go into a new sport. And that's what I'm talking about when you said chase your passions and chase your dreams and just things that you want to get done. And as you make that move, as you create your mantra, you got to have confidence. Confidence in yourself, confidence in your abilities. And that comes with really learning and perfecting your craft at whatever you want to do. Obviously, if something's your passion, it shouldn't be too hard for you to always want to do it and always want to get better. And obviously, there'll be sacrifices that you'll have to make to be really good at whatever you want to do. But, I'm a firm believer in why do something if you don't want to be really good at it. And that's something that I bring every single day to my current job, something that I've always did. If you're going to spend the time on it, you might as well try to be the best or try to be really good at it. And that's something I think it's easy, in our daily lives to get bogged down with the rituals, the normal. Like I get up at this time, I go to work at this time, I get off at this time, I go chat with my friends at this time, and break that cycle and start doing things to improve yourself. Make sure you add that into your daily regimen. Find a way to improve yourself, whether it's through a podcast or just meeting new people that can help you get to those goals and passions that you may have. And I think, it's really big. And once you start doing those things, you have to realize, what are you bringing to the table every single day? And that's something that was big for me when I started making my change from football to basketball, was what was I bringing to the table? And that's something that Coach Rivera then with the Panthers talked to me about, that he liked that I did. Because when I first started working with the Panthers, I was a head college basketball coach, but also an intern with the Panthers. So I was at the top of the totem pole on one side and at the bottom on the other. But when I went over to football, what was I going to bring to the table? And it was super easy for me to just take and learn. But I always wanted to bring something to the table to make myself valuable. So what can you do to make yourself valuable in every situation? How can you be missed when your time is up? And that was my goal when I went there. But that's something that you can use all the time in your current positions. And as you maybe chase these goals and passions, how do you differentiate yourself from everyone else? And that's super important to do, because everything that we do now, there's so many other people that want to do it as well. So how are you different from them? And I think a lot of that is, what do you bring to the table? How can you be missed when you're done? So everyone, we're getting seats at the table, but what are you bringing to it? So that's very important for me. And I think it's important to have that support system around you to help guide you and, through your decisions that you make. And that brings me to the next decision, which ultimately you have to make that decision to take that leap of faith. And that's what I did when I left basketball to go coach football. As I mentioned, I was in a very comfortable position. Life was good. We had won a national championship, and everything was good. And I just left it all to go into the unknown. But I know I had a good circle around me of friends and family. And, that's really important to create a network of people around you to help you grow and to push each other. And I often say sometimes I feel like, I'm one of the weakest links in my circle, which is a good thing, because you don't want to keep growing into circles that you're too big for, because ultimately they become a cage and you don't grow anymore. And, your growth is stunted. So sometimes you have to leave different circles to get into new ones to promote your personal growth. And all of these things, I think, kind of have to fall in line for you to grow and to develop and to chase passions and to chase dreams. So when you make that ultimate decision, that tough decision to maybe leave the job that you have or to change the position on something, I think all these things need to be in place so you can comfortably do it. And there's always a chance that you may fall on your face and you may totally fail. But I've always, had the mentality to fall forward in case, things went totally wrong. When I moved to football full time, I didn't have a fear of failure. It was more of a failure of not going and then wondering, what would have happened if I wouldn't have did that. So that was more important for me. That fear of wondering what would have happened if I wouldn't have went to football versus me failing going to football. So two different mentalities. So you have to have that strong mentality. And I think a lot of that comes with the confidence that I talked about earlier. And we all know, obviously I work in the sports world. But you guys are in various positions, but in the sports world, the weak get eaten. So it's important to have that confidence because everyone wants your job. Everyone's trying to get your position. So to have that confidence and knowledge to do your job proficiently is super important. But that also helps you make those tough decisions and not have a fear of failure. It's so important not to fear failure just because it's going to happen at some point. And how do you respond to it? Especially in the coaching business, one of my early mentors told me we all get fired at some point. And, luckily I haven't experienced that. But, it's well on the front of my brain that it could happen at some point. And when it happens, I'll just move on to the next thing because it's part of the business. We see coaches getting fired or resigning all the time. It's part of the business. So how do you respond to those things? And it's all about moving forward. And, the same way I handle those failures are the same ways I handle successes as well. And never getting too high, never getting too low, which is always good. So, even with my new promotion and making history and all those good things, I still haven't gotten too high. It's always kind of an even keel mentality for me. And I think that's the best way to move through my life and through journeys. And so many times people get so many emotions and they live and die on their positive emotions and their negative emotions, but to kind of remain even keel. So, because a lot of times things aren't as bad as they seem and they're not as good as they seem in the same aspect. So to keep that mindset was everything. And I think mindset is huge as you move through your struggles or as you try to make a big leap into something that you've always wanted to do. Those things are super important. And, for me, the power of saying yes is big. So if there's something that you want to do, my advice is always to do it, and you'll figure out what happens later if it doesn't work. But if it's something that you really want to do, try it. I think it's always important to do that. And, I've tried various things through my life and, I've enjoyed some things that I didn't even know I would enjoy, but it's important to do those things and get out of your kind of your normal life. And sometimes if there's something that you don't like, change it and don't be afraid to do that. And, as far as like my growth and my aspirations at this point, Coach Rivera, who's, now our head coach in Washington, he always tells us to be where our feet are. And that's something that he talks about a lot to our guys. But you can also use that in life as far as be where your feet are. So many times I'm asked, what I want to do in the future, what's my next move? And, you learn really early on in sports, you get your next move by being the best in whatever position that you're in. And that goes for anything. It's not just coaching. So your next promotion or your next move in life, a lot of the times those things that you're doing now sets those opportunities up for you. So right now I'm really just focused on being the best assistant running back coach I can be, making our running backs group the best in the league. That's what we're trying to do in the offseason. And obviously in 2021, we're looking for big things for us. So we have a really tough schedule, but we know that we can get better. And that's part of my job is to make us be great on Sundays in 2021. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. So, just some of those things that I talked about as far as, chasing dreams, not being afraid to make big decisions in your life, having that confidence to do those things, having a great circle around you, and realizing sometimes you may need to leave a current circle to get into a new circle because you've outgrown it or you're trying to do bigger and better things. So it's always important to have that. And then, making that decision to make a leap and make the tough decision to do those things. Don't be afraid to fail when you do those things, because failure is going to happen sometime. And, we don't talk about failure, but you always have to prepare for it. But I always think about succeeding versus failing. There's a saying, let the losers worry about losing, because we don't think about losing. You just want to think about winning. And that's something that I've always did. And then, how do you handle your successes with your failures is going to be very important, not to get too high and too low. And also just being where your feet are. A lot of these positions that you want, you get by doing a great job where you are. And, I'm a big proponent of, anything that you do it great and have those aspirations to be great at it. And, being where your feet are, if that's something that you can take from this speech is really to be where your feet are. It's every single day, everything that you do, lock in and focus, and be great at the task at hand and not look too far ahead at the things that you want to do. So I see it's a lot of green on the side. So I may try to get into a few questions. I don't want to talk too long. I want to get into some of you guys' questions. And obviously I see my mom has blown up the chat, but she's, I guess one of her questions is about just acceptance from the players and coaches. And that's been something easy from moving into football. I think any athlete at a high level wants to be great. And if you can help them be great, they don't care who you are. And I learned that early on, and the coaches have been fantastic as well. I think it's just a different era of football. It's not just machismo sport anymore that it's super manly, like the guys are really cool and they all have daughters and sisters and cousins and mothers. And, they've been very accepting of women in football. And it's been an awesome journey for me, along the way. And if you can help them be better, if you can help the team be better, I've had a problem with that. So let's kind of skip along. Let's see what we have. So there's a question about young people who want to get into coaching, and is there a special major in college? My personal major was sports management. I know a lot of different colleges have majors with like physical education, with minors in coaching. So there are different routes you can go to get into coaching. I would suggest some type of sports field, and see if there's a way to have a minor in coaching or something. And if there's a team at your college in the sport that you want to work in, see if there's a way to get involved. Obviously, it's probably not going to be paid because you're a student, but is there a way just to get involved to start gaining experience then and to start meeting those coaches? I still talk to some of the coaches from when I went to college, just those relationships that we built then. Even though I didn't work with our football team in college, I still knew the coaches just because I really love football. So I was always around. So it's really important to do that. And young coaches would always tell them trying to get into the business is just really perfect your craft and learn your craft and be really, really good at what you're doing, and start making those relationships. And, those relationships will build opportunities for you. And once you get the opportunity, it's up to you. That's when you put all your hard work into use and to really show people what you can do. And I always tell young coaches, don't go in the first opportunity or, whatever opportunity you get trying to be just super extra and put all your ideas in on the first day and do all those things. Really, take your time to get to know, the culture of wherever you're working and really be an asset to the head coach. That's what assistants are there for, is to be an asset to the head coach and the team as well. So whatever the head coach's vision is, when you first get started, that's also your vision. And, if it's totally out of line with, what you agree upon, maybe it's not the spot for you, but sometimes it's okay because you're just an assistant. You're not the head coach. So really believe in that head coach's vision and be an asset for them. So anything that they need you to do it, learn from them, grow from them. So when ultimately, when you get your head coaching opportunity, you're prepared to do that because you've already been doing it as an assistant. So ask lots of questions and really learn how things work. And, one thing at the college level, head coaches, about 50% of their day is something else other than sport. So it's important to learn how to do those other things, whether it's, budgeting or meeting donors or on some random committee. There's a lot of things that pull you in many different directions as a head coach at the collegiate level. So learn how to do all of those things if possible, just to gain that experience. So we have, let's see. They ask, how was I as a child? Man, I was into sports. That's what I did. Anything that involved a ball, I was into it. Softball, basketball, football, volleyball. I pretty much did it all. So I grew up in a neighborhood with kids, so we were always out playing something. And we had a basketball goal in my backyard, so had all the home games there for me. But it was good. It was always sports for me, and it was just on the cusp of like social media and the internet. So we didn't quite have it yet. So it was a lot of time spent outside, other than on our phones and stuff. We didn't quite have those capabilities yet. So as a child, that's pretty much what I did, and kind of beating the street lights at nighttime to come in. But we were out there all day pretty much. Let's see what we have. Someone's asking about the NFL TV deal. Yeah, really big TV deal was just signed last week. I think it was like $120 billion to play games on various networks for the foreseeable future. But I don't think it doesn't add any pressure to us to win. We already have enough pressure at the professional level to win, because that's what it's all about at our level. We either win or they bring other people in. So there's no added pressure to us to win because of the TV deal. I do know, it's good for the players just because of their revenue sharing that they have with the NFLPA. So next year and beyond, expect to see some really big contracts just because of the new TV deal. So I know this year a lot of people are trying to get 1-year deals so they can go get more money next year, which you can't be mad at them for that, for trying to get their money. But yeah, no added pressure for us. Um, Let's see what we have. There's a lot of questions. Um, I haven't really had people like underestimate, what I can do. I've been around a great group of people, and I think when the head coach brings you in, I think that kind of sets the tone of what's expected. And I've been fortunate to be into really good cultures everywhere I've been. So I've been with the Panthers twice, and I was with the Arizona Hot Shots with Coach Rick Neuheisel. I was back with the Panthers, and then went to Dartmouth, actually with Coach Buddy Stevens, who was great. Had a great time there, and was in DC last year and this upcoming year. So I haven't really had to deal with anything like that. Just been fortunate to work with a great group of people, and I think that's a testament to the guys that work in football. I think a lot of times people see, the guys in football, and they just assume that they give people a hard time or that it's been difficult. And my personal story is nothing like that. It's been fantastic. Which is cool. And it helps obviously that I went in with the mentality that, I was bringing something to the table, and I belonged there and I knew what I was doing. So that definitely helped. But I've worked with a great group of guys, so I haven't had any problems with anything. What am I looking forward to? My new position. Man, I'm looking forward to the season. It'll be a couple of months before we can have OTAs, but that's the fun part, is the hands-on part. We can get the guys back and start having our workouts and things like that. I think those are set to start in May. So that's really what I'm looking forward to right now. And as I mentioned, we have a really tough schedule on deck because we won our division last year. So they're a really good team in the NFL. They're probably on our schedule next year. So it's definitely a lot of preparation is going to go into next season, but we're looking forward to it. We welcome the challenge, and they always talk about pressure is a privilege. So I'm excited for our upcoming season. Let's see what we have here. Um, I guess Betsy's asking, what was my favorite sport to play? I think, my favorite sport to play was always football, but basketball was kind of the route I went. So definitely enjoyed basketball. I played basketball pretty much my whole life and in college, and I had an opportunity to go play some basketball abroad in Australia, which was fun. But yeah, I guess basketball, I guess to say, just because I played more of it growing up, and but sports, they've taken me all over the world. I've been able to play football in different countries and basketball in different countries, and just random gyms and fields all over America. So it's been really, really cool to experience this. And I always say probably sports has given me way more than I can ever give back to it. But I've definitely enjoyed, everything that has come along with. I've definitely enjoyed playing. So let's see what we have. More questions. We have a question about my ultimate goal with coaching. So, my ultimate goal is possibly be a coordinator or a head coach, either NFL or collegiate level. But for now, like I talked about, how good am I in the job that I'm doing, and that's really my short-term goal, is to be really good where I am and to see where that takes me. So I'm in no rush to move ahead and move forward. I'm continuing to grow, continuing to learn, and bring as much value as possible to our current team. So yeah, that's kind of, I know it's kind of a lame answer, but that's what I'm doing right now. That's where I am with all of my goals. So let's see, trying to see. Oh, sorry, this question's a little long. Let me take some time. Yeah, I know our public relations and also community involvement, they handle most of the things as far as having people there for pictures and things like that. So they actually work at the stadium. So I actually don't know a lot of those people, just because our main facility is out in Virginia where we practice, and our football offices. So there's several different sites for our organization. The stadium is about 45 minutes away. So the people whose offices are at the stadium, we never really have contact with them. So I've seen their names before, but I'm not sure the best way to get in touch with them, Jessica. But yeah, I know they do special things, and they have some people out sometimes for some special opportunities, and to get to see the stadium and see some of the players. And hopefully, I have no idea how training camp will be this year. Typically, our training camps in Richmond. Last year it wasn't due to COVID, but we'll see what happens this year. And that's a great opportunity to get out and really probably get as close as you can get to the players, just because of the atmosphere of training camp. So it's been really fun. Someone asked, are there any organizations or nonprofit organizations that I can support? I think one of the big organizations I support is the Carolina United Flag Football Organization, just because they use flag football as a catalyst to help reach the youth of Raleigh and Durham, North Carolina. So they use flag football, but they also have programs and education for underserved and underdeveloped communities. So it's been really successful, the things that they've done. They have different programs with the school system, as well as just in the community, to bring services and experiences to some of those underserved communities. But they use flag football as a catalyst to get that done. So that's probably one of my favorite nonprofits, is the Carolina United Flag Football Organization. And I just started an LLC for myself, which ultimately I want to be able to have camps and do different things as well. But it's in the infancy stages right now, so we're just getting started with that. But hopefully by next year we'll be up and running and able to have some of those camps, which I'm looking forward to. So thank you guys for your time. I think it's 7:30 now, so I think all the questions have been answered, which I appreciate. Thanks for all the love, and I really appreciate Girls Night Live inviting me back. Always a good time to chat with you guys.